in Australia, a packed undercard culminating in the main event mid-afternoon that will allow it to go into the US in prime time Saturday night. Now, given the significance of this event, tickets are going to go fast. As of today, you can buy corporate hospitality, including the well-sought-after ringside seats, are now travel packages with tickets are now available to this great event. General admission tickets, a little bit of a longer wait, 22nd of April, so get ready for that. So to George, to Devin, let's pack this place out, and I'll see everybody here on the 5th of June in Melbourne. Thank you. Thanks, Eddie.
Thanks, Rachel. That is so exciting. So get those dates ready and get in here, because 50,000 people at Marvel Stadium will be some sort of a fight, some sort of a roar, and of course travelling right around the world on our partners. It's just fantastic. Right. An event like this just doesn't come together. We had to bring together some of world boxing's brightest and most experienced minds. And joining me now, live from Los Angeles, is Bob Arum, founder and CEO of Top Rank, one of the most famous names in world boxing. And the man we've heard a bit about there, Lou DiBella, George Kambosos' promoter. Lou, if I can start with you, mate, can you take us through the build-up over the last couple of months to pull this amazing event together that we're going to witness in 2 months' time?
Sure. It's been a crazy ride. You know, it began at Madison Square Garden with George's stunning win over Teofimo Lopez, who was perceived by many as the best fighter in the world at that moment in time. And George took care of business, became the undisputed champion. There's only one belt out there that he doesn't have, and Devin Haney has it. We negotiated to make the biggest event possible for the people of Australia. George was insistent on defending his belts at home, and he really wanted to defend them in Melbourne. And it's one of the reasons I'm so grateful to the Victorian government and to the people of Melbourne and to the Melbourne government for bringing this huge event to Marvel Stadium. And Marvel Stadium's a marvel, one of the great stadiums in the world. We spent a lot of time trying to create the biggest event we could. And actually, we had a deal to fight Vasyl Lomachenko, a man who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, who's a great, great fighter. And right after we closed the deal, the Ukraine got invaded. Lomachenko is now fighting a bigger fight with his people. He's back in the Ukraine, battling for freedom. And we had to then change course. And the biggest possible fight was this young, great fighter, this young kid with a lot of talent, Devin Haney, who had that one other belt. This is the final undisputed championship. This is the final unification at lightweight, and the winner of this fight will be the king of the lightweights. And while Devin Haney had fought a bunch of fights of his were on another network, DAZN, I was able to speak to the guy over here, who we go way back since my first days in boxing, the legend Bob Arum. And they were interested in purchasing this fight for ESPN in the United States and Canada. And we were able to put together a deal with the help of our partners, TEG and Duco. Thank you for your help. We never would have gotten to this place without you. Foxtel Main Event really, really wanted this event on pay-per-view in Australia. Great partnership with them. I'm thrilled to be working with everyone we're working with. George Kambosos wanted to fight the biggest fight possible and bring it to Marvel Stadium in Melbourne. That's what we're doing, and we're fighting Devin Haney, and it's going to be a sensational spectacle, one of the biggest fights in years.
And Lou, you can understand it, maybe for our American friends, the significance of fighting in Melbourne. We all know, of course, that George is from Sydney, but fighting in Melbourne because this is an indoor stadium here in Melbourne, Australia, but also from his Greek heritage, Melbourne is the second biggest Greek population outside of Athens in the world. So he will have the Greeks behind him, he'll have the Australians behind him. It is going to be an atmosphere like we've never seen. Lou, can you just give us a bit of an insight into how George's life has changed on the international world stage since becoming the world champion at Madison Square Garden in that amazing fight that you just spoke about?
You know, George had to travel the world and fight in various countries away from home, frankly not making a lot of money, to earn his stripes, to rise up the ratings, to force people to have to give him an opportunity. And he rose to a mandatory contender. And basically Teofimo Lopez had to fight him. And when that fight was announced, I think the only people that really, really believed George was going to win were George, his dad, his family, and his team. But George knew that he was one of the best fighters in the world. He knew that he was the best lightweight in the world. He got the opportunity to prove it. He delivered, and that was a life-changing moment. He went from being virtually unknown to one of the best-known fighters in the world of boxing, and a hero, a homecoming hero in Australia, and also a hero in Greece. You know, his Greek heritage is very important to him. That's one of the reasons why we're so thrilled to be in Melbourne, a community, a city that has such an active and vibrant Greek population. And the Spartan warrior is going to get an opportunity to perform in front of both his Australian countrymen and his people of Greek ancestry.
Thanks very much, mate. Now, Bob Arum, as you said, a legend of boxing, and Bob, you've been down here to Australia over the years. You've been through so much with the biggest fights in the history of fighting and boxing, probably for the last 40, 50 years.
By the way, we're going to be in the building for this fight.
You also see the heartache involved in boxing. Now, when George went into the last fight against Lopez, he was a 13-1.
We're going to get a Big J up in there.
Underdog going in there. You were quoted as saying you didn't think much of him, and nor did anyone else, and that's not a criticism of you. But what did you see in that fight? Well, we all saw the fight. It was one of the great fights.
I need to get to a fight, man.
That suddenly you say, yeah, I want to be in this action.
It's been ages.
Melbourne, Australia, and there's an opportunity to unify.
We're going to talk about everything, though, after the press conference. Let me stop being rude.
From a man of experience in promoting boxing.
Take a time out, like the video. We'll talk after the presser.
Well, first, I have to say that I've learned in boxing that whatever the odds are, and whatever the experts say, and whatever I may think going in, that's why they do the fights. Because in the fights, these two men who fight each other prove who is the better fighter. And on that night, there's no question in my mind that George Kambosos won that fight and won the lightweight titles that my fighter, Teofimo Lopez, possessed. George showed me a lot more ability than I thought he had, and now I think it's appropriate that we match George with a fighter who will give him a tremendous battle, and that's Devin Haney. Haney is a phenomenon. He's done extraordinarily well in a short career. He's one of the leading, if not the leading, lightweight in the world, and it's going to be a tremendous, tremendous battle here in Melbourne on June 5th. And I want to tell everybody, although our fighter Manny Pacquiao didn't, but we had a wonderful experience in Brisbane in Queensland when we did that fight a number of years ago. And now to go back to Melbourne and give Melbourne the opportunity to host what may even be a bigger fight is something special. I can't wait for June 5th. I know I have a lot of friends in Australia, and I can't wait to see everyone. We have been using in the United States during the pandemic some Australian fighters like the Maloney brothers, and we hope to have them on the card. And it's going to be a tremendous night of boxing and a real tribute to the sport.
Good on you, Bob. And as you said, we're going to have a magnificent undercard on that night as well. Bob, you mentioned when you brought Manny Pacquiao out here in 2017 and Jeff Horn shocked the world. You brought out our man George to fight Lopez, and our man shocked the world. We love you in Australia, Bob. You bring the biggest names in boxing, and we keep winning. So we love you.
They're going to hold on to that Manny Pacquiao win forever,
Haney,
for eternity.
He can really go,
and we're going to keep winning. We're going to keep winning.
And tell us about this.
Well, there's going to be a time. You know, the tide comes in and the tide goes out.
Not this time.
All right, maybe not this time. Well, let's hope it will.
I know how much, Bob, you love to have the title holders in your team. Tell us a little bit about Devin Haney and what a threat he's going to be.
Well, first of all, as you'll see, he's going to be on in a little while. He's here in the studio. He's a fine young man. He's well-trained. He has great upbringing. His father has really raised a lovely young man, and he's learned the sport of boxing, and he's, as we say, he's a tough out for anybody that fights him. So you're going to see the best of American boxing when you watch Devin Haney.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Lou. Congratulations on pulling the deal together. It is going to be spectacular in 2 months' time here at Marvel Stadium in Melbourne, Australia. Congratulations again, guys, and we really appreciate the hard work that's gone in. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce the stars. This is one of the biggest fights, as we've said, in world boxing in 2022. And it's coming to Foxtel's main event and ESPN.
Yeah, remember, they were having parades and shit. They ain't gonna never let that Pacquiao win go.
Kambosos, the Aussie no one gave a shot, versus Teofimo Lopez, unified lightweight world champion. It was supposed to be a routine title defense.
Oh yeah, they're probably gonna copyright me for this. Enjoy the stream while you can. They're gonna take this joint right down. Well, thanks for watching anyway. Like the video while you're here.
It's a story straight out of Hollywood. The bullied school kid who put on a pair of gloves and fell in love with boxing. A massive underdog who became world champion. Speed, intensity, determination. There's a reason they call him ferocious. Sunday, June 5, live and exclusive on Foxtel's main event, the Kambosos homecoming at Melbourne's Marvel Stadium. This undefeated superstar puts it all on the line against American
Lee Selby just got beat up this weekend.
who holds the only belt that eludes our Aussie. Explosive, fast, 27 wins from 27 fights, and he's only 23. This is a super fight, one of world boxing's biggest events of the year. Sunday.
Thanks, Men's Law.
Live from Melbourne. Kambosos versus Haney for the undisputed lightweight championship of the world. And the only place you'll see it, your undisputed home of boxing, Foxtel's main event.
60
How about
bucks.
that, ladies and
Y'all
gentlemen?
gonna pay for that
This
joint
is
over in
gonna be
Australia.
Absolutely magnificent. And please welcome live from Los Angeles, the undefeated WBC World Lightweight Champion, Devin Haney, and his father and trainer, Bill. Welcome, guys. Great to
I
have
think
you
they're
there.
in Vegas,
And
not
now,
Los
ladies and
Angeles.
gentlemen, welcome to Marvel Stadium. In 2 months' time, he'll be walking out into the square ring to defend his titles. And these are those titles. The Ring Magazine, WBO, IBF, and WBO
I'm pretty sure they're all in
Lightweight
Vegas.
World Champion and WBC Franchise Champion. 20 fights, 20 wins, 10 by way of knockout. George Ferocious Kambosos.
Oh, they're getting fancy.
Everything. This is where we hold them. This is where we fight. This is where they die. And these shields fall.
That is a lot of gold, though. That shit looks beautiful.
Remember this day, man.
Beautiful sight.
It'll be yours for all time.
Spartans, lay down your weapons.
Oh yeah, they're asking for me to get copywritten. We might as well just so
Please
pissed.
welcome the champion to Marvel
He's been pissed
Stadium,
on Twitter the last
George Kambosos.
few days or
George,
so.
Thank you to Jim, your father. I tell you what.
All right,
we
we'll
need to
talk
get
after.
Gary,
We'll talk
all
after.
That hardware around, mate. That is one impressive lot of belts there, but there's one missing. Welcome, and tell me about your first thoughts at the moment, George, about coming here to Melbourne to defend all these titles, maybe get that last remaining one as well, here in front of 50 Greek Australians and Australian Greeks and the world watching you. Welcome.
It is good to be back home. 5 years I've been on the road. 5 years I've been doing it tough. Doubted by many, but I stayed focused. I kept that tunnel vision. And I knew one day I'd collect all of this. And I knew one day I'd step into this stadium and collect another belt. It's great to be back home. Great to be here at Marvel Stadium. I have to thank the Melbourne government, the minister, my promoter, the Bell Entertainment, TEG, and the people of Australia, not only Melbourne, but the people of Australia, because, like I've said many times, these belts are not only mine, they're ours as a country. Greece as well, my heritage, they're ours. And when I step on this beautiful stadium, June 5th, these belts ain't going nowhere, they're staying here.
George, take us through the fight. I've never seen a boxer look so physically and mentally prepared to go into the ring. As we said, 13-1 against going in, the bookmakers, even Bob Barham, all that sort of stuff. You've had that all your life, but suddenly you stepped in there and you've never looked more at home in your life than you were in that ring in a big-time boxing event against an absolute superstar, and you held your own and then took it to a new level.
It was a fantastic win, great win, against all odds. 13-1 underdog. But I knew what I was going to do that night. I never changed. I said all along, from day dot, I will be world champion, especially on that night. But that's the thing of the past now. I'm never content. I'm always striving for more and more. That's why I chased the biggest names. There was only 2 names I ever asked for this stadium fight, return fight. I could have fought anybody. Any person I could have picked. But what for? One of the best names. Lomachenko, Devin Haney. Unfortunately, Lomachenko's not available. Beautiful. Devin Haney, step up. Now we'll take your belt.
George, it is remarkable because generally when you go through all that build-up...
Ooh, talk that sass, George. Talk that sass.
Lesser credentialed fighters build up a reputation, continue to fatten up your record, but instead you have taken on the other person who holds the lightweight belts. What's the motivation behind
you go on,
it?
George.
Something in your DNA that you say,
working
no,
that
I
microphone.
Want to be the undisputed world champion in my division.
I'm a Spartan warrior. I want the best fights. I want the best warriors to keep showing the world who I am, what I'm about. Correct, I could have fought anybody, but could I do that on my homecoming fight, my return fight, this beautiful stadium, give you guys an easy fight, and you just leave home with a sour taste in your mouth? Never. I can't look at myself in the mirror. I said I'll fight the best guys. I bring this fight back to Australia, and that I did.
And George, we've seen plenty of times over the years in all sports when people have reached the mountaintop and they get a little bit comfortable, they get a little bit easy in their own way. They start to take on some of the things that they have had to push aside in their Spartan regime to become the champion. You look as sharp today as anyone. You look like a Hugo Boss model coming out here. You look fantastic, mate. But more particularly is that you look in pristine condition to build up these next 2 months to get yourself right to defend your titles.
I'm ready to fight today. I've been putting the work. People ask me, when does Cam start? Cam started as soon as I beat Teofimo Lopez. As soon as I battered him and took all his belts, Cam started the next day. I was on the phone to Lou DiBella and to my management and to my team. Who's next? Can we get these guys? Are they going to step up to the table after that performance I just showed the world? So I'm in great condition, ready to fight. I'll fight today if we have to. I take it old school. Let's do 15 rounds in this beautiful stadium. I can't.
George, take us through the difference in maybe tactics against the 2 fighters that you've had to fight in the last, the last fight to win the title and this one to defend the title against Devin. Different type of fighter altogether. Have you started to work through the tactics, or are you just worrying at the moment about your physical condition?
Look, I've been a contender on the rise for a long time before I won these titles. So I've been looking at all these guys. I've got notes on all these guys. I know how to beat all these guys, and I will continue to beat all of them one by one, round by round, one by one. So, look, I'm not going to disrespect Devin Haney. He's a good boxer, but he ain't elite, and he will find that out the hard way. They call him the dream, but now that it's signed, reality is going to kick in. And day by day, that reality is going to set in stone. And you're going to see it. This stadium, this fighter you got in front of you, this ain't no game.
He missed the opportunity to say the dream
because now we are going to
is going to become the nightmare.
California, United States, and meet Devin Haney and his father Bill, as we mentioned there, and as George said, he is a super credentialed fighter. He is a world champion in his own right, and he wants to be the unified, undisputed lightweight champion of the world.
That Kambosos, though, he can definitely work the microphone. Like, he definitely got the mic skills. That's for sure.
In Melbourne, Australia. We can't wait to see you in action. What's your response and how are you feeling about this amazing bout that's coming up?
Oh, I'm so thankful. I'm so gracious for this opportunity. This is a dream come true. I thank God for it every day. I prayed for this time to come, and now the fight is official now, and I can't wait. Thank you, God. Alhamdulillah. I'm so gracious, and I can't wait.
Bill, alongside you, your father and trainer. Bill, you saw the fight where George became the champion of the world in Madison Square Garden, the home of boxing, if you like. What did you see in the opponent that your son needs to beat to achieve his lifelong dream?
Well, shout out to George Kambosos and the wonderful job he did with Teofimo Lopez. It's a true Cinderella story, no different than our story as well. This is the Super Bowl of the lightweight division, and we're happy to be a part of it. We're happy to have the dance partner and George Kambosos, a heck of a team, and Peter Kahn, Lou DiBella. Everyone has done an excellent job at making this thing happen. So we're very much looking forward to it.
Bill, take us through it. Tell us about this boy sitting next to you, your son, but also your fighter. You've trained him, you've watched him, you've built him for this young man.
Oh, I mean, he's amazing. He's both a great person outside the ring as well as being a great fighter inside the ring. And come June 5th, the world is going to get a chance to see. It's a lot of different dimensions to his game. He has an arsenal full of different things, a toolbox full of different things. And come June 5th, the world will get a chance to see how much he'll put on display.
So, Devin, can I ask you, your style of fighting, having seen George in action as well, tell us how you'll approach this fight, what you'll do over the next 2 months, the training regime, the sparring regime, to be able to become the undisputed world champion.
A great fighter, and I've been asking for the top fighters for a while now, and I finally have, gotten one of them that's in their prime, that's coming off the biggest win of their career. So I'm happy about that. But what I will do is go in there and handicap George of the things that he does best. I will take away from him and make it an easy night.
Bill, thank you very much for joining us. If I can ask you, Devin, just to finish up from there before we open it to the world's media, tell me, what's your message to the people of America and here in Melbourne, Australia, and Georgia's fans about what you're going to bring to Marvel Stadium in 2 months' time?
Oh, thank you to all the fans that's tuning in, all the fans in Australia, all the fans in the U.S., all the Georgia's fans, all of my fans. Without you guys, this fight wouldn't have been able to get made. So I want to say thank you guys for that. And tune in June 5th. It's going to be a hell of a fight, the biggest fight of the year by far, and it's for all the marbles. So it will be final. It will finally be a king of the lightweight division, and it will be me.
Devin and Bill, thank you. Stay with us for some questions from our media ensemble who are here. George, I want to put it to you. That's a man there who's a fine athlete. He's a wonderful person by the sounds of things as well, and well-credentialed. Humble man wanting to be a champion. You've got those belts in front of you. He wants to take them away. Have you got a final message for the world's media today?
Yeah, I respect that. But he says he will finish his fight as a king. What's a king to an emperor? I am the emperor. I've gone and done that, and now I will conquer even more. So I respect it. He's a good kid. But just know that we chose you. We looked for the biggest fights. Could have fought anybody. There's a reason why. So June 5th, Looking forward to it.
June 5th is going to be great. These two amazing athletes, amazing fighters, courage personified, going toe-to-toe for the Undisputed Lightweight Championship of the world. Ladies and gentlemen, and my colleagues from the media, now gives me great pleasure to open the floor for questions to both Devin Haney and George Kambosos.
Hi, Devin and Bill. Just one for each of you, please. Devin, George has proven himself as a real road warrior. He's won all over the world. Just want to know what gives you confidence that you can come down and perform in front of a really hostile crowd. It's going to be something really different for you. And Bill, just in terms of his camp, will you change anything up with different time zones? I'm just interested in how you'll approach piecing together his camp for this fight as well.
First off, I want to start off by saying, as a man, and if he doesn't want to respect me as a man, I'll gain the respect in the ring. And second of all, he could say that he chose me, but that's not the truth. He was forced into this fight. He did not want to fight me, and up until today, he did not want to sign a contract. Up until today, so he could say what he want to say. He did not choose me. He was forced into it.
Oh shit!
You were chosen, boy.
And
you were chosen.
Can you repeat the question for me again?
Sorry,
no, I wasn't chosen.
You were chosen.
No, he was forced.
You got forced into this
position.
You didn't want this fight. I'll take the same deal as Loma does. I'll take the same deal as Loma. Yep. You're on a different broadcast.
And what did I do?
You're on a different broadcast. You're on a different broadcast.
And what did I do?
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. Because I knew I could beat you.
Show me June 5th.
I trusted my skills so much that I knew. No matter what, I'd fight you anywhere, wherever. I'd fight you in your backyard if I had to, because I know that I'm gonna beat you. And you'll see June 5th.
I'll be waiting.
June 5th, there we go. It was going so nicely there for a while too, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? But you can see the fighter's instinct.
He's upset, Eddie.
So much on the line, you can just feel it. The secondary question was to George?
No, the second one was to Bill. I'm just interested in how
what am I going to be upset about? I'm about to become undisputed. This is a dream come true for me. What am I be upset about?
You sound very angry.
Oh Lord, it's on.
You sound very upset. I want to see that energy when you step in here on June 5th with me. Just answer the question.
You got it, bro.
Come on, Bill, answer it for him.
Yeah, Bill, I just want to know about your camp.
Hey, you don't tell me what to do. You don't tell me what to do. I answer the question when I want to answer the question. If you tell me to answer the question, I'm not answering it.
Bill looks like a world champion. Look how he's dressed. He's dressed like me, sharp, in the suit. Devin forgot the suit. I don't know if he owns one, but
I want to wear that. I want to wear these belts on June 5th. I'm gonna show you how to wear the belts on June 5th.
Reality's kicking in. You ain't gonna go near them. This is just a dream for you.
No, I'm not coming down. Gotta sell the fight.
We get you to answer the question, maybe. Bill, the question was.
Yes, sir. Can we get a repeat on the question, sir?
We can. Indeed.
I happened to be enjoying these fine young champions.
Bill, hi. I just wanted to know what you're going to do with your camp and the changes you're going to make, having to travel all the way down here, different time zones, acclimatizing. I mean, what sort of challenge is this for you as a trainer to get all this right ahead of the fight?
Well, actually, you know, shout out to the Victorian government and both. I have to say again, Peter Conf, who's offered us first-class treatment to come over and train and get ready to give the people the fight that they're clamoring for, to make sure that these two gentlemen are well taken care of, and it's a fight that's going to be settled in the ring.
Yeah, I want to know when they're coming over too, or when they're going over.
Something that Kambosos made as the last option. I have a lot of respect for him and Jim, but Devin was the last option. And you know, alhamdulillah, God doesn't make any mistakes. Now it's set forth to June 5th. Everything will be finalized and settled. You know, shout out to Bob Arum and Top Rank for providing this platform. And ESPN, it's going to be a heck of a fight. We plan to come out a month in advance to Australia. Hopefully we can get a chance to do some media and also put in the work that we want to need and get adjusted to the climate.
Okay. Answer the question.
Next question.
Hi, this question is also for Bill. Bill, George really seemed to get into Lopez's head in the lead up to the fight at some of the pre-match press conferences. Is that something that you need to be mindful of in terms of you keeping Devin's, I guess, mind on track?
So far, Australian media is not asking dumbass questions. Shout out to Australian media.
No, I think that's just something that's George's personality. But when the two men meet in the ring, it's going to be settled. It's all about skills. Skills will pay the bills.
What up,
nothing
Marlon?
that George can do or say can get Dev out of his character. Dev is ready for this fight. George just spoke about
what up, everybody?
The many miles, the 8,000 miles, or the journey to come over. This has been a 15-year journey for Devin. So the amount of time that it's going to take to come over, anything that George is going to say, anything that any fans or anything that's going to do, it won't be anything that's going to be that's going to disrupt him.
They blowing that joint up?
We graduated. We made our
scared the shit out of me.
Mexico, in small bars onto this big stage. So nothing that is going to surprise us. Devin is going to be ready for everything. And we look forward to performing in front of the Australian fans.
Thanks very much, Bill. Next question from the media.
Question for Devin Haney. Devin, last time George fought, he overcame one of the best pound-for-pound fighters on earth in Teofimo Lopez. Why do you pose more of a threat to George than Teofimo did?
Because styles make fights at the end of the day. He had a great night on that night, and he beat Teofimo, but I'm a different fighter than Teofimo, and I will show. Like I said, the things that he does best, I will take away from him.
And the last question from our media.
One for you, George. Just wondering, mate, what it would mean to you to be the country's first ever undisputed world champion.
Look, I'm very excited, and I've worked extremely hard. I've gone back and forth from the US, all over the world I've been, to get to this. Now, these guys sit there and complain. They're making millions of dollars, and they complain about a trip all the way to down under. I've done that trip for free, lost money with my family and my kids in the cattle class with screaming babies to achieve this. So they're worried about a trip down under, so I'm very excited. I've achieved this, but again, I never get content. I never get content. I'm striving for more and more, and these guys are just another person in front of me. I will take them out, and I will move on to who's next.
Thank you, everybody. And Bill and Devin, can I say thank you so much for being part of it.
We signed up for it twice. Hey, we wanted it so bad, and we want to look for. We're looking forward to performing in front of the Australian people and the Greeks and on all your fans, not once but twice. So it ain't like that we did not look forward to this. We signed up for it not once but twice, and I don't know too many teams that would have signed up for it. That's how much we're looking to come down under, my brother.
You had no choice.
Well, the great thing is the deal has been done, so whatever happened beforehand doesn't matter anymore. There's only one thing to worry about now, and that is Sunday, June 5th. And if I can say to Devin and Bill, thank you very much for coming along this morning.
And I'll become undisputed June 5th. I look forward to it.
We look forward to you coming down and having a go at it, Devin, and we look forward to George stepping into the ring as the champion of the world. You two, great champions. It's going to be something fantastic for us sports lovers. You two have to go hard at each other because it is Mano. Understand that the mindset that is required, there's no niceties about it, and we respect you both as champions, and one of you will be the undisputed champion of the world. Thank you again, Bill. Thank you, Devin. June 5th. There is no other place you want to be than right here at Marvel Stadium or on pay-per-view in Australia on Main Event and right around the world in America, available on ESPN. As we heard a little bit earlier, corporate hospitality, including those magnificent ringside seats, are on sale now through vipnow.com.au. That's VIP now, vipnow.com.au. travel packages. You can come over first class as well, just like the challenger here tonight has been saying how wonderful it is. You can come with the Haney family if you like, but the packages are absolutely on sale right now. Go to Keith Prowse Travel, that's kpt.com.au for your travel packages from right around Australia to come to Melbourne and right around the world to come to the sports capital, Melbourne, Australia. Marvel Stadium, Sunday, June 5, and pay-per-view in Australia on the main event, and in America, ESPN. And of course, you can join the wait list for tickets at ticketek.com.au. That's ticketek.com.au for the general admission tickets. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an historic morning. It is an unbelievable occurrence that's going on June 5, and that is the unification of the lightweight championship of the world. As we know in boxing, sometimes there's an alphabet soup of different belts around the place. This is the time when the two best available fighters come together. The two best fighters who have all the belts in one place at one time, right here at Marvel Stadium, Melbourne, Australia, and on main event. It's going to be something special. George, you've done yourself proud today, mate. Thank you for turning out the way you have as far as your expertise as a fighter. We just admire you so much that you've done it the hard way and you'll walk in to this amazing arena as the champion of the world. And to Devin, we respect you as an amazing fighter as well, and we welcome you to Melbourne, Australia, when two of the greatest fighters go head to head. What a day it's been for boxing, what a day it's been for the main event at ESPN and for Melbourne, Australia. We cannot wait for June 5. It's going to be an awesome event.
Well. All right, let's talk for a little bit about the fight, 135-pound division as a whole, and go from there. So listen, the 135-pound division is on fire. However, it's politics going on, but what you see now is Devin Haney, WBC champion, taking on WBC franchise, WBA Super, IBF, WBO, Ring Magazine 135-pound champion, George Kambosos Jr. And what we're seeing is it's going to be a full undisputed, because even when Teofimo Lopez beat Lomachenko, he wasn't viewed as being fully undisputed by many because you still had that other belt out there, the one that Devin Haney has. Now, we're going to see a full-fledged undisputed. And let's just be honest. Kambosos wanted Lomachenko. You can't be mad at him because it's still fucking Lomachenko. You see what I'm saying? And Lomachenko's already proven, despite losing to Orlando Salido and losing to Teofimo Lopez. So you can't really say if he would have fought Lomachenko, it would have been an easier fight. Lomachenko had planned on going over there in March, this month, April the 1st, tomorrow, and actually being over there for quite some time to train. But then the war happened. He's deciding to stay. He's not leaving. He's going. So now the next option was Devin Haney. And I do feel that, and it's nothing wrong with it because he was going to fight Lomachenko. So it was like, all right, who's the next best available? And it was Devin Haney. Now, you can say, okay, all right, Tank Davis. A lot of people don't understand. And Tank Davis, for the last, I'm going to say week or so, has seemed as though he's been a little bit disgruntled with Mayweather Promotions and the whole PBC side of things. And if you really look at it, even though he's on pay-per-view and he's making money, the fights that he's in are not really generating the waves that I feel that Tank Davis wants. For example, the very week before, and this is how boxing is so fucked up. The very week before, on Showtime pay-per-view, the same month as Canelo Alvarez versus Dimitri Bivol, you're going to have Tank Davis taking on Rolly Romero on pay-per-view for $74.99. June the 4th and 5th, depending on your location here in the States, is going to be what? June the 4th, it's going to be on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, ESPN Plus. I have the press release right here in the Marvel Stadium. They're expecting 50,000 or so. But how are we getting Kambosos versus Haney on regular ESPN. But then we got to pay for Tank Davis versus Crowley. Oh, because he's a pay-per-view attraction. Nah, bro, people not buying them shits like they used to. And I think Tank understands. Even with his tickets, he was posting something about how his tickets are not on sale yet. Let's go breeze through the 135-pound division before we call up an Australian, Big J, and listen to his thoughts on the fight. And he's actually going to be at the event. Of course, we already said Kambosos is the champion. By the way, the rankings on my website, FightView360.com, are updated monthly in accordance to the sanctioning bodies, WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, and Ring. So let's talk about the movers and shakers in the division. After Devin Haney, it's going to be fully undisputed. The winner of... Okay, well, first, let me say this. The rumors are that there's a 3-fight deal. I heard it on the Boxing Voice, and I heard it somewhere else. I don't know if they got it from the Boxing Voice or whatever, but it's supposed to be a 3-fight deal with Top Rank. And it's supposed to be, if he wins Devin Haney, Kambosos has the rematch clause, so they fight again. And then the winner of all of that is supposed to fight Lomachenko. But then you have the winner of Tank Davis and Rolly Romero, who's supposed to be the next mandatory in line for the winner of Kambosos versus Haney. But history has shown, and more than ever now, especially over the last, I'm going to say 2 years or so, PBC still has a hard time letting their big guys, their big names fights that are not in-house, unless they really have to. And if it's a lot of money involved, like Tyson Fury, Deontay, you see what I'm saying? But in reality, you know, a lot of people felt that PBC didn't feel that Tyson Fury was going to win the first fight, or it was a draw, and they didn't feel he was going to win the second fight. So that was kind of, you know, a gamble right there. But right now, the way the 135-pound division stacks up, after Haney versus Kambosos, mandatory-wise, the winner of Tank Davis versus Rolly Romero is going to be next in line. Then, because of his stroke with Top Rank, Vasyl Lomachenko, he's probably going to jump everybody because that's what's supposed to happen, I'm guessing, according to the deal. And then you have this guy right here, Gustavo Lemos, who beat up Lee Selby. Lee Selby is who George Kambosos beat to be the IBF mandatory for Teofimo Lopez. He won this weekend. He's the next IBF mandatory. And then you got Ryan Garcia facing Emmanuel Tagu next week. Tagu is also a Lou DiBella fighter with George Kambosos. And to be honest with you, I don't trust Ryan Garcia. I won't be surprised if he loses that fight. I would not be surprised. He's supposed to win against Emmanuel Tagu, but I won't be... Listen, boxing been a little weird these days. Remember, Burchelt just got fucking beat up last week. And who else outside of the top 5 135-pounders? Let's talk about... Let me give you my top 5 135-pounders. Now, this is... My list is based off accomplishments and skill. It's my list. I like to give this disclaimer, you know, and I need to be doing it more. Listen, we're not always supposed to agree. We're not always... he knows what he's talking about. He's the man. And there's going to be sometimes you're going to fucking want to throw your phone up like, you know what? I unsubscribe to this. So this is my list, okay? Get off my back. Number 1, because of accomplishments. Now, I can do it by skill. I can do it by skill or by accomplishments. But let me just say, number 1, George Kambosos. Number 2, Tank Davis. Number 3, Devin Haney. No, number 3, Lomachenko. Number 4, Devin Haney. And who's my number 5? I don't like Ryan Garcia like that much. I don't know. But I can't really put him over Isaac Cruz. And Michelle Rivera, all right, fuck it. Ryan Garcia, number 5. That's my top 5 135-pounders. As far as, you know, who's in the rankings and the rankings are concerned. And then things start getting a little blurry when you start getting the guys like Isaac Cruz, Michelle Rivera, Zaire Abduliev, who just put fucking Jorge Linares' dick in the dirt a few weeks back. I covered that fight. William Zepeda was supposed to be the up-and-coming guy, but he looked a little suspect in his last fight. Crowley not in my top 10. You know, I would have to really look at my list, but Crowley ain't up there. You know, Crowley is an in-house fight. That's all that is. It's all smoke and mirrors. In-house fight. Let's see what Big J's doing and see what he thinks about the card and the press conference. By the way, how did you rate the press conference? I'm going to give that press conference, I like the production quality. Things flowed smooth. I like the moderator too, whoever he was. I've never seen him before. I probably have. I covered a lot of Australian boxing. Ben Damon's probably on vacation because he was here this past week and he might be still in the States. So that's probably why they didn't use him. It's going to be on pay-per-view over in Australian territories, and here in the States, it's going to be on regular ESPN and ESPN Plus. The Maloney's are going to be on the card, and let's see who else will probably be on the card. Let's see what Big J's doing. By the way, take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I'm going to have to edit this joint up a little bit.
Hey, mate.
Yeah, what's going on? What do you think about the press conference?
Yeah, not too bad. I was a bit disappointed that no one was there, and then like they kept it a secret.
I wonder why. Because maybe they just got everything together because Devin Haney did hint to the fact that nothing wasn't really fully signed to the day.
Yeah, well, we suspected that this would happen around April anyway. But yeah, but they just snuck up. They snuck up on us.
Yeah.
So the moderator, that's Eddie McGuire, very well-known journalist. He's been everywhere. AFL commentator, used to be the Collingwood president. He's on hosts Who Wants to Be a Millionaire hot seat. Do you guys still have that over in the States?
Yeah.
So
it's called a different name, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, Eddie McGuire is a very famous TV presenter, journalist, you know, football commentator. He's pretty much everywhere, Eddie. So, yeah, very, very famous and did a good job. So I thought the press conference was good. They went out of their way to make that as dark as possible because it's a beautiful, clear, sunny day here in Victoria. So they put the roof on, they put the lights on, make it look good at night when it's, you know, a beautiful, sunny day. So and that's a rarity for Melbourne this time of year. So normally it's doom and gloom. But anyway, so yeah, I thought it was pretty good actually, real good.
All right, well let's talk about the fight. You're going for Devin. You're going for George Kambosos. I'm going for Devin Haney. Why do you feel Kambosos is going to win? Like what does he have that you've seen over Devin Haney?
Skill, power, speed, tenacity. I mean, Devin has looked rather poor in his last three outings, you know, especially against Jorge Linares when he almost got dropped.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, I'm just trying to think, did he just back off and do what he needed to do just to get those wins, or did he just not really look that good? I think, you know, against Jojo Diaz as a blown-up super featherweight, he really didn't do that flash. He should have knocked him out easy, but he didn't. So, when's the last time Devin had a knockout? Or even knock someone down?
I don't know. The box rec's not loading up. I don't remember.
How long ago was that?
Yeah, that was about 4 years or so ago. I mean, he's never been known, even when he was fighting over on Showtime, he's never been known to be like a real knockout puncher type of guy. But I do agree that against Jorge Linares, definitely Jorge Linares and Yuriorkis Gamboa, he was supposed to really, really shine in those fights. And then the Jojo Diaz was to be somewhat of a test, but he was supposed to win. But I still think that George
sat Teofimo on his backside in the first round, and by the 10th round, he pretty much had control of that fight. So
yeah, because George can box, but I just can't say that he's a better technician or a better boxer than Devin Haney, in my personal opinion. I just can't see it. However, I may, even though their knockouts are not too far apart, they're both not really known to be knockout fighters. It does seem as though that maybe Kambosos may hit harder, and he may lean a little bit more into his punches.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, for the put down Teofimo, who's one of the biggest 135ers and the hardest puncher in the division, to put him on his ass, that's saying something. So, and then I mean, I think George has got the tenacity and the mongrel that he needs. Because you got to have mongrel in you to be a fighter. I don't care what anyone says. You have to have that grit in you, and George has got it. And he's not, he's very laser focused. He's extremely focused. You can tell, You can tell he's taking this completely seriously. But George needs to win this fight more than what he needed to win the Lopez fight, because no one really expected him to win against Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be 50-something thousand people. What does Marvel hold? 55,000 people. Because you can guarantee 98% of that crowd will be there for George. I don't think too many people are going to travel for Haney. They will want him to win that fight. So there's more pressure on him on this fight than what it is for the Lopez fight, that's for sure. So
yeah, because the way they're talking is that, you know, they're expecting 50,000 or so. Do you think it's going to be that much buzz because Main Event is behind it?
Yeah, I think because, you know, as Eddie said in the thing, the Greek community is the second largest Greek community outside of Athens. And all those people, if you remember when he was at the Australian Open earlier in the year, he's, you know, sitting dancing and having a good time with all those Greek fans. All those people will rock up, for sure. I mean, this is an undisputed title fight for an Australian. This has never happened in Australian boxing. The sheer spectacle of it, people will rock up. Their sports. That stadium has been used for UFC multiple times. I mean, I think Stylebender beat Whittaker there.
Mm-hmm.
Holly Holmes knocked out Ronda Rousey there. It was called Ettinghad back in those days, but now, you know, same stadium, just different name. So you'd expect that they get a very large crowd for that.
So realistically, who, you know, now we already know Bob Arum is going to try to, the Maloney brothers fight. We're going to talk about that in a different video. They fight next week, but Bob Arum is going to try to get both of them on the card. But realistically, who else? Now, we already got the Maloney, so, you know, they don't have a lot of money to put into the undercard. But who else would they likely try to fit in? Who do you think is a logical, you know, somebody to get on that undercard?
Honestly, I don't know, because all the people that you would expect to be on that undercard are all tied up with either No Limit or
or Maximum in the Zone.
Remember, there's Hardman versus Zarafis in 3 weeks. Then you've got Breeders versus Jai Bataille in May. So all those undercard fighters are already committed. So
I'm guessing one of those Maloney's is going to be the co-feature. One of those Maloney's is going to be
it'll be Jason.
Have the Chiefs reasonable, because, you know, you're going to have Haney and Kambosos taking up most of the money. But since we're short on time, closing thoughts?
Oh, look, I think George, this is going to anger a lot of people. I think George will get him an 8 to 9 TKO.
Okay. So you think George, so you're going on the record to say George Kambosos is going to stop Devin Haney?
I think George is going to stop him, yeah. 8 to 9, like talk late, 8 to 9 TKO. I think George is just far too intense for him. So I'm going to go and say I have Devin Haney by split decision, and one card is going to be really, really crazy for either one of the boxers. Like, it's going to be something. That makes sense. Well, there's still people on the chat saying, oh, you know, he's going to get robbed. I mean, can we please get over bloody Horn Pacquiao? That was 5 fucking years ago.
Y'all can't, the Australians can't stop talking about it.
We don't, because he won.
Exactly. So, of course, fans are going to say, listen, you know, Manny got robbed.
Well, Andrew Maloney got screwed. We're not, there's plenty of times Australians have been screwed.
They tried to get Tim last week. That was a funny card. They tried to get him good.
Oh, yeah, that was bullshit. But, someone gets screwed overseas. So, it's 50-50. Just let it go.
What? Let me ask you your opinion before I let you go. What do you think about Tank Davis? You know, because right now he's been posting some things on social media. And even though, yes, he's making money, but if you look at it, his last opponents, they're not really moving the needle. You know, you just...
So I've said before that I think Tank could give George problems, but if Tank continues to fight low-level, nothing competition, and George keeps fighting the best, you think by the time that Tank fights, because it'll go like this. George, Haney 1 and 2, regardless of what happens, there will be a rematch. No doubt it'll happen in the States. Then George will fight Lomachenko. By the time he gets the Tank, and Tank keeps on fighting substandard competition, Tank will drop where George will just keep better. You think George, if he gets through Haney twice and he gets through Lomachenko, you think that George wouldn't have a problem with Tank, because by the time that happens, George will build up his resume. Well, Tanks will just keep getting lower and lower, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because, they're really trying their hardest to keep, Tank Davis in-house. And we were talking about, you know, about how like these guys are not fighting each other. We've now seen Lopez, Kambosos, and now we're seeing Haney, Kambosos, you know, and with Lomachenko in the mix after that. You know, so now it's up to Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis to, you know, the rumors have been going around that they're going to try to get something done. I was watching the press conference, I forgot what it was, with De La Hoya last week. And, you know, he did a plea, you know, to PBC to try to make, you know, of course, after Tank Davis, if he beats Rolly Romero, which he should, and after Ryan Garcia, Tagu, that they can make that fight later on this year, because it makes sense for both Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia to fight each other, and then the winner of that can somehow get in the mix of what's going on with Haney, Kambosos, and Lomachenko.
Yeah, you reckon Tank gets over Garcia? Because I sure think he does.
Yeah, I don't trust Ryan Garcia. I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Garcia lose to Emmanuel Tagu, the guy he's going to be fighting next week. I won't be surprised.
Who says I'm on something? Bullshit. I don't like that. So who says I'm on something? Bullshit.
Oh, don't feed into
anyway.
it. You reading the chat. But listen, the way it's going right now, we'll see. And I'm expecting, you know, things are going to calm down a little bit with Haney, Kambosos, and we over there a month or so before the fight. So I'm guessing Haney and his father and their team are going to head over there, you know, probably around the end of this month or so.
Smart move, because it starts getting bloody cold. Even though it doesn't snow in Melbourne, it starts to get bloody cold and miserable around May. That's when weather turns really shit out. So yeah, that's a good idea to get over here and get acclimatized. Because even in Australia, coming from like Townsville to Melbourne is a massive change.
Yeah.
So yeah, the sooner they get over here, they're acclimatized, the better. Because this is when the Melbourne weather turns shit out.
Yeah.
So yeah, bring your winter woolies for the fight. That's for sure. Because it's going to be bloody cold.
The fuck is that? But anyway, so this is what we're gonna do. Big J, I'm gonna let you go on Twitter, and then in a few days or so we're gonna be doing our wrap up video on Tim Tszyu versus Terrell Boucher and other Australian boxing that's coming up, like the Maloney twins fighting next week, Maris Breedis, Job Bataille, he mentioned Mick Zarafa versus Isaac Hartman, and God knows who, but we'll get to that in the Australian video. All right, Big J, talk to you later.
Right, mate. See you later.
Looking at the boxing schedule, what is tomorrow? Sandor Martin versus Jose Felix. I think I'm going to cover that card. Just the main event probably. And then Saturday, basically this is a slow week in boxing. It's not nothing that really calls out to you. Saturday is Savannah Marshall versus Hermans, and Florian Marku versus God knows who. But then next up, heavy Ryan Garcia's fight, Golovkin versus Murata early in the morning on the Zone. Then the week after that, Spence versus Ugas. The week after that, Tyson Fury versus Dylan White. The week after that, I forgot, was at the end of April. Oh, that's April the 30th. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. Who else? Shakur Stevenson, Oscar Valdez. And I'm talking about the main flagship fights. May the 7th, Canelo versus Bivol. The very next week, what's that? Charlo versus Castaño 2. So it's going to be busy. We're going to be doing a lot of boxing videos. Thanks for watching. I am T Street Controversy.